still your best option, even if it costs more. But definitely, it makes sense that they want to get it cheaper, and that's going to happen. That'll happen over time. Obviously, there's a huge upfront cost just for getting this thing off the ground because they're literally launching satellites into space, which is not a cheap proposition. So right now it's expensive, but once all the satellites are there, once the system is complete, all they can focus on keeping costs down and focus on customer service and things like that. So that makes the most sense.
Yeah, so, and for those joining me in my stream, I once again forgot to unmute myself, so they missed everything you and I just said.
Wow.
So, I'm just gonna do a quick recap. The beta is out for
Oh,
Starlink.
somebody just joined my chat and said they couldn't hear from Anaconda's side. Lucifer did.
Yeah, Lucifer did. That's who told me I was muted. But the quick gist of this is Starlink beta is out. The SpaceX by Elon Musk internet based on satellites. It is currently $600 up front to run, with a $99 a month fee. And they're averaging about 150 megabytes per second for the beta users, with as high as 205 megabits. Keep saying megabytes. Speeds. So that's just a quick recap. Then the thing I was going to add on to that, JD just talked about how Elon Musk he says now that he says he's happy with them hitting 150 megabits per second for the average so far as of right now. I mean, not a whole lot of people have this. This was a select invite for the beta. His goal is to try to get the initial cost of $600 down, and JD was talking about how that's not going to be cheap, or it's not going to be easy to do. But Elon is trying. It's the same thing with his Tesla cars. They came out insanely expensive, and they've been slowly going down because he's been trying really hard to find cheaper ways to manufacture these vehicles to make it more available for the average American, or the average person. I won't say just Americans, because I believe Teslas are sold worldwide. And one of the things we said this would benefit, it won't benefit JD as much. He would look at this and said this is a huge waste of money, unless he's just a huge space nerd and just like to be a part of a program like this. There's no reason for him to spend $700 or $600 out the door for this internet, to be told that he could have average outages with speeds probably no more than 150 megabits per second and as little as 50 megabits per second. So this is pointless to especially when he's got Fios and AT&T. But for somebody like me who has only one decent option, that is Cox internet, which is they boast gigabit speeds, but they
And again,
don't.
you're a fan of Cox?
No, I'm not. I absolutely hate Cox.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot stand it. Yeah. So the gigabits speed is advertised by Cox on the regular, but it's in the tiny fine print says you're not guaranteed to hit that speed, and I average about 700 megabits per second despite paying it. And I'm going to start paying about 130 a month now because apparently my deal ended, even though I was told it was going to last a year, but apparently that's not exactly the case. So I'm excited. Thanks for that, Cox. There's apparently a fine print I missed in my deal contract.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty normal for cable modem companies, especially they advertise the peak speed, but then you never get anywhere near that speed. And it's the same for Fios. Like I don't get gigabit speeds all the time. It's just 900 is fine for me. I'm good. It's okay.
Yeah, see,
I'm feeling pretty confident about my internet.
Yeah, yours are more reliable and more consistent though. So
yeah, that too.
How many outages have you experienced though since you started with Fios?
I did have a brief period once where there were some outages, but it's been over a year since we've been here, and one period of time with some bad internet is not that bad. And it's really consistent otherwise. It's really great. And the other nice thing about Fios is the upload speeds are really good too.
Yeah. So and that's another thing, because I don't think they mention upload speeds for Starlink. They just talk about the download.
I imagine they're next to nothing. Like
they probably are. I mean, latency is between 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds, which really isn't that great, not in a gaming world.
Yeah.
But again, there are people in rural areas, like JD mentioned, that this is still a lot better than what is available to them. And think about the humanitarian capabilities of this too. if you really think about it. JD mentioned other countries. They're talking about bringing the beta to Europe soon, and Elon wants worldwide coverage soon. He wants to get this as quickly as possible. So imagine somebody doing a humanitarian in a third world country or a country devastated by a natural disaster, and they can link up to Starlink, and they're going to have up to 150 megabits speed, which you wouldn't dream of. I mean, there's satellite internet before, but it was unreliable and crappy. Mm-hmm. So not just in a gamer, content creator aspect, or people that just want internet connection in rural areas. There's so much possibilities going to be made available by this program, which is fantastic and could do a lot for the world as a whole. Especially because, like you said, he wants the same speed around the world, and not like Cox gives me up to 900 megabits. JD gets up to a gigabit in his area, and then you go to where my brother, he barely beats 50 megabits because there's nothing else for him out there. So, it's kind of equality on the internet, essentially. Like, it's equal internet for everybody. And now, again, it is expensive. He would like to get it less than 600. I can't imagine he's going to go get it too low because the equipment sounds expensive. You're actually getting a tripod, which is like a mini satellite uplink. But people are still excited. There's people saying I'm willing to pay the initial $600 cost because some people talk about to get workarounds to get decent internet in the area. They paid actually more than that to get a decent setup. So, there's one guy specifically on Twitter says Starlink unboxing video speed offers up to 100 megabytes per second, latency of 20 milliseconds, all day for the 99 monthly cost subscription is a pretty great deal. Now, obviously, he didn't mention the initial cost for the equipment. Because then it's not like Cox where you buy Cox internet and you get their equipment. You're paying a monthly fee on that equipment item, and that's probably what people are referring to. Because some companies make you buy their equipment and you can't do anything about it. So
right, it's pretty common habit for a cable modem company to charge you for the cable modem. You can actually replace it with your own and then stop paying that fee. That's something I've written about a lot because a lot of people don't know that that's a secret rental fee that they're paying. That's usually like an extra $15-20 a month when you can actually tell them to stop doing that and you'll provide your own equipment. Most people don't know that and they don't tell you.
Well, and even when you tell them, because I do that. I've talked to JD many times to get a new router, a new modem. They will fight tooth and nail, and like if you have issues when you set it up, and they'll say, "Oh, it's the modem you have. It's not our equipment. You should probably pick up our equipment." And that every time I have an issue, they go straight to my modem and then offer me theirs, and it's because they're losing out on this. And it's sad because I mean, honestly, on their modem, because it's 9 times out of 10 it's a modem router combo, and if JD can correct me on the wrong, if I'm wrong, because he writes more about this, they're not that great for reliability.
Like if you have a single device that is both a modem and a router, you're getting screwed. Those things suck. I actually have one, and it sucks.
It took me forever
That's how BIOS does it.
Yeah, because FiOS is one of the ones you can't do anything else as of right for now.
Yeah, FiOS you can, but it's complicated, so you kind of have to go with what they give you, and what they give you is trash. So.
Yeah, and when I was living with my friend Ungodly Marvel, he's a mutual friend of ours. He had Cox for the while. That's what it sums up to. JD's just disappointed that Marvel's not running for president and not using a campaign idea JD has for him. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he does need to run on that single issue.
Yep.
Making public baths.
Like the Romans.
Get those going again. Yeah.
Anyway. With the slogan of "When in Rome, take your shirt off."
Take your shirt off. He'll whisper that part.
When in Rome, take your shirt. Take your shirt. It adds more impact. It gives me goosebumps, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting off topic. He had Cox for the longest time and user equipment. I kept telling him he needed to buy a different router and modem because of what JD told me. And when he finally did, you saw the difference in performance with his internet. So but we kind of went along on this topic mainly because I screwed up with my because I had to do a quick recap. But I'm excited about Starlink. I am not willing to pull the trigger myself just yet if I get the beta invite, because I did sign up for a beta invite. If I get the beta invite, I don't know if I'm going to do it. If they can prove that they can stay at 150 or more consistently, I may be more willing. And if by the time I get back from my deployment, he's under $1,600 or $600 for the initial setup, I may do it. It will mean I'll take a huge cut in my speed, but I am so fed up with Cox. Like, I spent 2 hours today asking why my bill went up, and it took them forever to figure it out. When it was as simple as my contract ended, so now I have to pay full fee, as full value is what they're telling me. Even though, again, I swore up and down when I signed up for the package, it said it would last a deal. It didn't tell me it was going to end in December. But anyway. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. There's a lot of promise to it, especially, I mean, it's still not very appealing to me. Even if they do the stipulations I said, it still won't be that appealing because Cox is still outperforming Starlink. But for people like in the middle of nowhere in Washington State, Montana, Wyoming, these states that really don't have a lot of population density, which is not attractive to companies like Fios and AT&T, this is going to be a big deal for them. And then for the countries, like when I was in Turkey, I think they were still on DSL when I was out there. So that's going to be even more appealing for places like Turkey. So
yeah, definitely up from an international perspective, like the idea of being able to get Starlink, in Afghanistan or like just random places out there in the middle of nowhere that don't really have good internet. It's kind of crazy. So it's definitely bringing the internet to the whole world, which is pretty outstanding.
It's awesome. Yeah,
pretty ambitious. Yeah.
I
All right,
mean,
let's move on. We spent a
Elon's
lot of time on Starlink here.
yeah.
And we're moving on to, what did we say we're going to do? Rogue Company.
Yes.
Rogue Company just had a big update. They haven't quite released Ranked yet, which was supposed to be part of this update, but they're getting close. They definitely had some weird ass bugs that they're like, all right, we got to fix these bugs, and then we'll release Ranked, because some of those bugs made their rogues unplayable.
Yes.
But let's talk about it. Talk about the patch and all the new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are really upset they're delaying Ranked again, but I was tired in a bad mood yesterday, so I went off on somebody that said I'm uninstalling this game, which is, I mean, there was no reason. It's Twitter. It's a waste of time to get in an argument with somebody about anything, but I did. I mean, he never responded, so maybe basically people are really upset about Ranked. I understand your frustration, but I've said this about Cyberpunk 2077. I'd much rather people delay their product instead of release a garbage product full of glitches and issues. Now, Rogue Company is full of issues. However, Rogue Company is not fully released. It's a free game that is an open beta. The only way you pay money in this game is if you choose to pay money, in which case that's your own fault. So you're spending money in an open beta game that is free to play. Rank, to me, is not game breaking. I understand why people think Rank is great, because the common thought is when Rank is released, the competitive play is more enjoyable to experience because you have people actually trying to win. You don't have people that are suck so bad at it, because JD plays pretty much Ranked on Smite almost all the time now because the play tends to be better. However, in his case, when he plays alone, he's going up against teams that play with each other all the time by himself with a bunch of randoms. That's a problem. So I'm going to try to teach myself, my rule of thumb is I will not play Ranked Rogue Company unless I'm with at least 2 people that I know for a team.
Well, it depends. I don't know how they implement it. I mean, you kind of got it a little wrong there. The part of the reason I play Ranked is because you can't team up. In Smite, you can only have groups of 2 for Ranked. Okay. So when I'm playing by myself, I prefer Ranked because it means that I'm not playing casuals where I'm getting stuck with a team of 4 or 5 or whatever.
A sweaty team.
Yeah, exactly. Arena. So I don't know how Rogue Company's Ranked is going to work. If they're going to let you do 4 people teams in Ranked, I'd be really surprised. I bet it caps at 2. I bet they do 2. And then that way, I don't know. But I don't know for sure. I think it'll depend a little bit on the player base too. If they have enough people, maybe they'll let more teams in.
Any size
like
party.
Heroes of the Storm did it great. I like the way Heroes of the Storm did it. Heroes of the Storm had two queues. You could do a solo queue where everybody was alone, or you could do a queue that had teams of 2, 3, and 5, which was
Mm-hmm.
neat. So if you had people to play with, you could play in the team queue. But if you didn't, you could play in the solo queue, because there is nothing worse in games like these
Getting
being
randoms.
alone, stuck fighting a team, or stuck with a team that then blames you for everything that goes wrong. Like, it's the worst experience. It's the worst thing about Smite, and it's going to be the worst thing about Rogue Company too.
Yeah, because Rogue Company says you can have any size party queued up and ranked. So that means
Wow.
you can stack your team, go into rank, crush people that are just trying to casually rank, which I don't know how you casually rank, but they exist. So yeah, I stand by it. When rank comes out, I personally will not play rank unless I at least
Yeah, I
get
wouldn't play it solo.
no, because
Yeah.
right now Rogue Company's always sweaty. I avoid Strikeout because it's nothing but sweat. People are using it to get YouTube and Twitch clips. People are all about the kills. And JD and I both have the same issue. If we play a game that has objective based in it, we want to play the objective. We do not care about the kills. Now, kills are nice. But we like to win. I don't know if that's a problem, but we do. And these games, you don't win by kills. You win by objectives most of the time. Every now and then you can, like, I've had a couple Rogue Company matches where we didn't even, there's one round I remember we were hurting this team so bad. We didn't even carry the bomb. We just left it and killed them and then continued on with the match. So, and that's a problem. And Rogue Company's gotten pretty sweaty. And they've been plagued with
it's going to be a sweaty game for sure.
It really is. Now, right now, the highest rank you can get is 30, which isn't going to be a big deal because it looks like is gained from winning matches in rank mode. However, you will lose experience for losses. So it's like a tip. I think most ranks are like that, aren't they?
Pretty much. I mean, they can't really judge your individual performance. They basically just judge you based on whether you win or lose. So,
which is a problem because this is why one of the reasons why I won't play with randoms when I play rank. Because, yeah, like JD said, it's going to be based on your wins and losses, not really about your personal skill. Because then it says rank beta will not use current skill-based matchmaking and will prioritize matches where players have comparable skill ratings, but they're not based on your skill. They're based on your wins.
mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a problem because you can, and this happened in Halo, and I'm sure it still happens because I don't play a lot of ranked anymore. People intentionally play horrible to drop their rank to play with either new people playing the game or like well, no, I'm not gonna call you out what you do with Smite. Yeah, sorry.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the problem with ranked and with competitive play. Very specifically, the game is free to play. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because if it's free to play, then
Everybody
there's no
plays.
penalty for just starting a new account or for smurfing for lowering the MMR on your current account. People can just do as they please, and that's a problem with no barrier to entry. It really gums up the works. And Smite has that problem. Smite has that problem with pro players. People who get paid to play it start brand new accounts so that they can climb the ranks of ranked and dunk on people that aren't nearly as skilled as them. It's stupid.
Which will turn people off from the game. So a game like Rogue Company, which is still growing, it's not doing well on Twitch. I do see people talk about it all the time. It seems popular as far as play goes, but it's not doing well on Twitch, which tends to be the benchmark on the success of a game. And if Hi-Rez is going to want to keep pulling people in, that's the last thing they want is these people who have dedicated hours and hours and hours to this game to maybe even, I know a couple of people trying to go pro themselves, and let's say, and they've been playing this game nonstop since they made that commitment, and they've been doing a lot of skirmishes with other pro players, and then they're like, you know what, I'm bored, I'm going to go nerf my account and start over, and these new people are going to come in and get discouraged because the first match they play, they're going to go 0-7 and not get any kills because they're going up against the people that nerf their accounts just because they think it's fun. So, I mean, I'm excited about rank, but not excited about rank. There's people that argue the other side of the fence. There's no point in playing the game because you're not rewarded for your play. My reward is just having fun. I've had a lot of fun playing with people like Lucifer. and Entourage, and even Mindkill when he hops on every now and then. It's a lot of fun. I remember one particular night he played Scorch for the first time, and he had a little handicap.
That's so stupid.
And he wiped people so easily despite his handicap that he had that for that night.
What a dumb character. I was wasted. I was drunk. I was getting like 30 kills in a game. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, so
Dumb
okay,
character.
Biden. Come on, man.
So, come on, man.
But
It
anyway,
is what it is.
that's enough about ranked. I personally can care less. I'm gonna keep playing Rogue Company with or without ranked. Even with ranked, it's gonna be very rare you're gonna see me play it. Because one, I'm never going pro. Because one, I don't have the skill. Two, I don't have the time to dedicate to go pro. I'm married. I have an actual full time job. It's kind of hard for me to dedicate that kind of time to it.
Plus
But you
suck.
will see. And I said that was the number one thing I said.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said I had.
I just wanted to make sure people heard that part.
I didn't use those exact words. I just said I don't have the skill. So,
oh, okay. Yeah.
But thank you.
Understatement of the year. It's fine. You're good. Good job.
Thank
buddy.
you. But anyway, so I want to get more in the other parts of the update, which is the only part of the update that really went live is fixes that they have, and ironically, a new rogue called the Fixer.
Hooray.
Who's
broken?
Who's broken? Yes.
Yeah.
And not just in glitches, but in, as far as I can tell by the stats they rate, I haven't played them because despite paying, I paid for the Founders Pack. I actually bought the whole thing. I figured why not? I enjoy the game quite a lot, and I wanted to get some skins from some of the characters I main. So I said, why not? I'll do it. I'll support the game. But that part of the Founders is you get all the rogues, apparently not the Fixer. So I will have to pay.
You don't get new ones. That's dumb.
They gave me Dahlia. Oh, they gave me Dahlia.
Well, that's
so
good.
Dahlia was the most recent up until the Fixer. So I got Dahlia, but I'm not getting the Fixer. So I think Dahlia was the last one you're going to get with the Founders Pack. And then after that, you're going to have to.
Yeah, I think Hi-Rez is slowly learning its lesson from Smite. Like Smite is a great game because there's some good value in some of the things you can buy. And one of the things you buy is the God Pack, and the God Pack guarantees you you can open up all the gods that exist, and it guarantees you get all the new gods that are released. And I don't think they've done that anymore. I think they've realized that's a lot of value for a $30 bargain. So
it's a free to play game. So if you do something like that, then there's no reason for somebody to. Yeah. So, but the Fixer, the reason why I say he's broken, not in just glitches. One, Phantom is not overpowered. Because I don't have the patience or skill to really snipe with her. But she can essentially down, especially with a fully upgraded rifle, in one shot almost every single time. And there's no scope sway, there's no holding your breath, there's nothing to really throw off your aim. So if you're able to have a quick reaction and get your scope right on the head, you're downing that person. Like, I've been able to do this, barely peek around the corner and get dropped before I can even see the Phantom. So, it's frustrating, but she's pretty easy to counter too. And I'm hoping the Fixer is, but there's things that discourage me about him that I don't know how he's gonna be able to counter. One of the things being is he's got a cluster smoke grenade, which is interesting. So I'm assuming he just spread smoke further than the regular smoke grenade. He's got C4 like Anvil and Talon. Now the C4 is great for setting up traps. However, it has a very weak throwing distance, and it's not like the grenade where you throw it and it goes off. You have to throw it, wait for the animation to complete from you switching from throwing to the detonator to finally detonate. So if you throw the C4 and the person's close enough, they see you do that, they can rush you, and before you can hit the detonate, they can take you out because your hand's stuck going from throwing to detonating. So it's frustrating. Then his perks, Shredder Rounds, which I'll have to look up. I pulled it up last night and I forgot what it said. Shredder Rounds. I think Shredder Rounds is one that destroys equipment faster. And he's got Berserker, Helping Hand, Bounce Back, Life Drain, which Dima has as well. So Dima has Life Drain. So basically, whenever you down somebody, you heal a lot of. Actually, I think there's two of them. There's one you heal when you're down, and there's another one that slowly heals as you do damage. And I think Phantom has that too. So that could be an issue. And then there's Headstrong, which gives you additional armor. Now, me personally, I think Headstrong should be stuck to people like Anvil, who's supposed to be labeled as a tank. I don't know why pretty much every rogue has a Headstrong now, because the other rogues are supposed to be fast hitters. They're not really meant to be. They're supposed to be like in Smite. JD plays a lot of Smite. It's the other high-res game, and we've talked about it quite a bit tonight. You got gods that are fast and strong, but they're squishy. And then you got gods that do little to no damage, but man, do they take a beating. And maybe this is my fault coming in with this kind of expectation in this game when you say like they got Dima as a berserker, a breacher class. You got Dahlia as a support class, and Saint as a support, and tank and Anvil as a tank. So far, the only one labeled as a tank. However, he has the same amount of health as everybody else, whereas Dahlia actually fills her support role. Saint actually fills his support role. Dima actually fills his breacher role because he's got all kinds of explosives. His ability launches a cluster grenade. He's got strong weapons. So and maybe this is just me being bitter because I like Anvil. He's the only one that doesn't actually seem to fit his role outside of having a wall he can put up. But that once you put that wall up, it's done for the match. You can't move it. You can't redeploy it. It's done. So,
poor Anthony.
I know. Woe is me. Which is weird because
I think you're putting a little too much emphasis on the idea of classes in Rogue Company. It's definitely not the same as Smite. It's mostly gunplay in that kind of game. But the other interesting thing about this patch is they adjusted Headstrong so you can actually repair it, which is interesting. So now you can basically have that 25 armor whenever you go into a match or whenever you start a fight. And if you win the fight, then you can just repair your armor again and go back into the next one. Yeah.
Scott Gotti talked about this, and I said I was okay with it with speculation or with some stipulations to it. I'll have to see what they did. Did they say if it's an auto regen or is there an animation?
No, you have to manually do it. So so they basically have to stop in your tracks and manually repair it. So it takes some time. It definitely makes you vulnerable because you can't, you don't have your gun out or anything while you're doing it.
Because you're going through. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's okay with me. I mean, I would again. JD says I'm stuck on the whole putting too much thought in the class thing, which is probably true because it's a shooter thing and it's not on the same level as Smite. Smite's a completely different game on its own.
And it's not even on the same level as like Overwatch or Paladins. Those are class-based shooters, and Rogue Company just isn't that. I mean, it definitely has a little bit of classness to it, obviously, with like Saint being a reviver and Anvil having his wall or whatever. But it's just it's not quite there.
But all rogues can drop people just as much as the next rogue, despite their class. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, so it's
I do agree that I think Headstrong's a little too prevalent. There's definitely characters that shouldn't necessarily have it, especially now that it can be repaired infinitely. They should definitely be a little more wary of who's getting that.
And that was one of the things I said in Scott Gotti's tweet is like it has to be. You can't just auto regen. You have to do something to make it regen. I also said that they need to limit the amount of rogues. I said I prefer if it was just Anvil, but again, that's me being biased. But I would have been happy if they just took it away from a few rogues and limited it to the number. Now it's almost like every rogue is getting it now, and that's kind of frustrating, honestly.
Well, they do need some more perks. They need to add a few more ideas in there, especially in the 10,000 level, which is where Headstrong is. They need some more options there, and then that way they can eliminate where Headstrong's going.
And now, and because every rogue has a $10,000 perk, and Anvil's. So I've been able to do a better tank build, if you were. Anvil's got Headstrong, and then he's got life drain. The one that you re-heal when you down somebody. So I can get in a fight. My Headstrong can make me last longer. I down that person, it regens most of my health, and then I can, if I need to, re-engage immediately into another fight. Or if I have a chance, hide now and regenerate my Headstrong and my health, and then go back and do another fight. So that will help me in a tank-style gameplay. But again, it's not as prevalent to have a tank role. Another thing they did change in this update, though, because I've talked enough about classes and stuff, is they've changed maps. Canals, the one with the 2 ships, and you fight on. There was a middle warehouse area, and then there's only 2 doors to go in and out of. They've added a window on a platform area. So now if somebody's in there, they can pop in and or pop out that window, shoot people before they get to the door, or they have a dumpster on the other side. So if somebody's holding the doors down, somebody can climb through the window and come at them from behind instead of having to run all the way around the entire map to get them from behind. So it's made more tactical gameplay, more options instead of like only kind of 2-way option.
Yeah.
High Castle is added. Huh?
Said cool.
Yeah. They've added a backboard for grenade bounces on one area because there's an area it's hard to get to plant the bomb, but if you can get the bomb there, it's really easy to defend because there's almost no way to get to it to defuse it. They've added backboards so you can do more like creative grenade bounces, so you can get grenades behind the enemy or to the enemy a lot easier instead of hoping to Hail Mary it and hope it lands just the way you need it. So now you can actually plan your grenade throws better. I'm going to try to go through these because we've been on this topic pretty long too, and I know you want to get to Starfield. So Windward has simplified furniture and railing in a few spots. I guess I can add to the game. It just looks like cosmetics to me because they're not going to stop bullets, but okay.
Yeah, they're like showing like they removed a trash can here or there, or they
Yeah.
moved this outdoor chair. Like, okay, great, thanks. Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody, and that's the only change of the maps. Anvil's, good. They fixed an issue with his barricade. I've died so many times, even out in the open, trying to drop a barricade to revive somebody, and my barricade won't deploy. So I'm just standing there like this while a guy's shooting at me and doing this repeatedly as they shoot me. And by the time I realize it's not going to go down, it's too late and I'm dead. So I can't do the clutch plays Anvil's supposed to do. Like, the barricade to me is either an area denial because there's a couple maps where you can use the barricade to completely block off a lane for someone to get to, or you can use it like if a teammate goes down and you want to get to him before the enemy kills him, you can roll out to him, drop the barricade, revive him, forcing the enemy to either rush you or allow you to revive that person. It's also useful for like in demolition. You can, if you are like the last player and you know the bomb is about to go off, you can drop the shield to give you time to disarm the bomb, forcing again the team enemy to rush you. Which can either allow you to kill them as they rush you or make them take so long to get to you to kill you that you disarm the bomb before they can get to you. So I'm glad they fixed that. Glitch has fixed his bounce back perk, which reduces health regeneration delay, has been replaced by tenacity. Take reduced damage for explosions. Ronin has a ballistic knife, should no longer be used as up if a player reclaims it and equips it. Oh, there was a glitch that you can throw Ronin's explosive knife, and if you decide it's not in an area you want or it's not going to do any good, you can reclaim it and then reuse it. And it was glitching out, so people would think they reclaim it. It shows that they reclaim it, and same thing. They try to throw it, and they're stuck in the animation of throwing it, and it doesn't go off, so they're standing there like an idiot getting shot by the enemy. Scorch fixed issues with green tint could be observed from her activated ability. I guess I never noticed that. Tenacity perk was replaced with helping hand. So Trench can revive faster. Flashbangs have been fixed. EMP grenades have an increased radius. Tear gas, a lot of increased. I'm not gonna go through. There's actually a lot to this, so I'm gonna just stop it there.
We don't need to read every single thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize the list was that long. So I will post the link in the video, and JD will obviously post it in the podcast description when he uploads this. So that's all I'm going to say about Rogue Company, unless JD's got anything he wants to add. We can move on to Starfield.
No, nothing really to add. I mean, it looks like a good update. They definitely broke some stuff. Dahlia's ability is broken. The Fixer has a smoke grenade and C4, and apparently there's a glitch where if you have both and you try to use your C4, it permanently loses your smoke grenade. Stuff like that. So they definitely broke a couple of things that they'll have to fix, and I think that's why part of the reason they're delaying ranked. But
because
all right.
In my opinion, to go on the rank rant I just went on, I'd much rather them spend time fixing those glitches than getting ranked out for me. That's me, because what good is
Yeah.
rank if the game's broken? So
And I mean, it's a beta game anyway, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
people are treating this game like it's fully released, but this game's still in beta. They're still programming it. They're still building it. So we
Mm.
just have to be a little patient with some of these glitches and things like that. So, all right,
And
let's
they've
talk
been
about.
pretty.
Oh,
I was
go ahead.
saying, they've been pretty good with responding. Like I had to post a
Yeah,
video of somebody cheating, and they fixed the glitch that caused that cheat to happen. So pretty quickly after the video was shared, I wasn't the only one. I'm not saying my video did it, but it wasn't long after videos started being posted. Like, all right, we need to fix this. This is game breaking. So
sure. Yeah, and
uh,
Hi-Res is always been pretty good about communicating with their
mm,
community. So, yeah. Anyway,
that's
all
it.
right. Enough
I'm
about
done.
Rogue Company. Let's move on. We have some new information about Bethesda's newest game,
Mm,
Starfield. This is a game that was announced like 2 years ago, and we haven't heard anything about it since. If you know anything about Bethesda, you know that their games are huge, like mind-blowingly huge. They have tons of it's open world RPG, and
mm,
Starfield is supposed to be an open world RPG that
in
is
space.
futuristic, maybe in space. We don't really know
That's
anything
true.
about it, except that it varies very much from what they've done in the past, which is the Elder Scrolls series. So this might be more similar to something like Fallout, but even then, it sounds very different. So we haven't really heard anything about it, but Todd Howard, the head of Bethesda, did an interview this week at a conference, and somebody asked him some questions about Starfield, so we learned a little bit about it. And we know, for example, all of Bethesda's big games are built on something called the Creation Engine,
Mm,
and they've updated that over the years, right? So if you remember Morrowind and then you played Oblivion, there was a huge jump in graphics, but it was built basically on the same engine. So Todd Howard talked a little bit about that engine and how they're making improvements, and they're saying that there's a huge leap from what the engine was on Skyrim compared to what it's going to be in Starfield. That they've added procedural generation, and things like that from the developer end, right? So when you play the game, everybody's going to be playing the same game. But when the developers are building it, they're getting a little ease of use into how it's being built because of the procedural generation. So that's pretty cool. Um, they're talking about making their cities a lot bigger. One of the weird things about Skyrim was how um, tiny their cities were. Like the very first major city you come across in Skyrim is called Whiterun, and like it was just a couple of roads and a couple of houses. It wasn't nearly as big as it's supposed to be. And they even talk about like it was very common for the guards to talk about, oh, I never go up into the cloud district, and it's talking about
mm.
another section of Whiterun, and I'm like, it's right there, man. It's
That's
you just
it's
walk
across
5 feet and you're in the cloud district. Like it doesn't seem, they're talking about, oh, I don't ever get to that part of the city, but I'm like, you can get to that city in part of the city in 30
it's
seconds.
right there.
Why don't you do it? So they're talking about in Starfield that the cities are going to be massive. They're going to be huge expansions over what they've done in the past, which is great. It sounds really cool. It sounds like they're really improving NPCs so that NPCs are going to be much bigger parts of the game. Uh, and we know from Bethesda's work with Fallout 76 trying to build a world with no PCs or no NPCs that was a massive failure. So yeah, make the NPCs better. Don't get rid of them altogether.
Well,
Sounds like a good idea.
he also mentioned in the link you provided that they're going to play a larger role than in previous they did in previous Fallout's and Elder Scrolls. I think
Yeah,
that he's trying to put some people at ease because of Fallout 76.
yeah, maybe. And a lot of times, even in Skyrim, the NPCs were there, but they weren't really doing anything, right? And
Mm.
they just kind of, I don't know. th- Yeah, I hope they do have a bigger role, and I hope they do more things. Make them a little more dynamic. Will make the world feel a little more real. So that should be interesting. And they're also talking about he also talked about how there's like just tons of developers working on this new game, this Starfield game. Which kind of makes it crazy that we haven't heard anything. If there's that many people working on it, you think somebody would at
Mm.
least shared some information. But they said that there's uh, game studios in Dallas, Maryland, and Montreal, Canada, all working on Starfield, which is a ton of developers for one game. Considering
Maybe
we're
they're.
playing Phasmophobia, and that's being developed by one person, so you know, like the
I
difference
mean,
there is kind of nuts.
it's not uncommon for publishers to have like at least 2 developing teams, but to have that many, that's actually, I think
Yeah.
that's the most I've heard of. Yeah, I've heard like EA, Ubisoft tends to do 1 to 2 teams per game, so it's that's quite a bit. And maybe it's because they don't want a disappointment like Fallout 76 with all the issues it had upon release and the overly underwhelming feel
Yeah,
when you
Fallout
started.
76 was super underwhelming, and I think they realized that mistake. And to be fair, that that was their
Yeah,
first foray into like multiplayer MMO kind of thing, and it just didn't work out. But that's fine. They also said that it's going to be available on Game Pass day one.
yeah.
We've talked a lot about how much we love Game Pass. We think it's a great deal, and Microsoft just bought Bethesda, so obviously that's going to be a Game Pass day one release. And they're going to continue to support mods, which is
It's a huge
great.
deal.
Yeah, it's a big sign for the future of the game. Whatever Starfield ends up being, the fact that it's going to have mod support means that it's going to last a long time. We've seen that with all the games in the past. I mean, Skyrim is still going pretty strong with its mod support. Fallout New Vegas went pretty strong. That wasn't Bethesda, that was Oblivion, but it
We know what you
lasted
mean.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So there was some people misconstrued some of the talking points that Todd Howard gave. Like they talked about how the map was going to be bigger and stuff. But Todd Howard just said that the map is going to be bigger. He didn't say how much bigger. And so people kind
Are
of
assuming.
so if you read an article from like PC Gamer or something saying that it's going to be 4 times bigger than Skyrim, like they're just making that up. That wasn't in the interview. But it is going to be a big map. It's going to be a very detailed map with huge, massive cities, according to Todd Howard, and NPCs that are doing a lot more. I hope there's more NPCs outside the cities. Like Skyrim can feel kind of dull sometimes because there's not a lot of people out in the world. Like they have bandit camps and stuff like that. But like I'm gonna find like people on the road. Like Elder Scrolls Online is really good at that. If you're walking along Elder Scrolls Online, you'll regularly see NPCs just kind of walking along and doing their own thing. I want to see that in Starfield. I think that'll be great.
There's even NPCs fighting creatures every now and then, just randomly,
Yeah.
as you go through.
Yeah. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Starfield sounds really great. I'm really looking forward to Bethesda doing something new. Like I love Elder Scrolls and I love Fallout, but those are the only 2 serious like open world RPG IPs that they've had in 10 years.
And it's time to
they do, yeah. They do smaller games like Bethesda is part of the Doom people,
series.
right? They own id, right? And then they had Prey, and they do games like that. Dishonored is one of their games.
I think
but those aren't. Yeah, Wolfenstein. Yeah, you're right. But those are very compact games. I want a giant open world game. I love those games. And Starfield sounds like something new and exciting to get involved with. So,
and we're all JD and I are almost always about sci-fi. He really loves No Man's Skies, and it brings him back in every now and then. So it'd be exciting to branch off into something like that. One thing to add about the Game Pass Ultimate, Elder Scrolls 6 is also promised to be day one release.
Yeah, I mean, when is that game going to come out? Like that's going to be.
That
game has got to be like 4 years away at the earliest. Like it's crazy.
I remember somebody complained about it to Todd Howard on Twitter, and he responded, "We are focused on Starfield. Elder Scrolls 6 really isn't a concern right now. They just announced it to let you know it's coming, and that's where they left it at that."
And I mean, if assume like he says in this interview that Starfield is not close to coming out, right?
Yeah.
So it's either going to be next year or the year after that Starfield comes out. And then they got to shift focus to Elder Scrolls, which means at least 2 years after that for Elder Scrolls, and probably longer than 2 years because these games take a while to make. So, I mean, we're looking I'm going to be retirement age by the time that game comes out.
And you got to think, I'm sure as Starfield gets closer to the end and they won't need as many teams, maybe they'll start transitioning the teams as they complete their personal projects to Elder Scrolls 6. Because obviously they're going to want Elder Scrolls 6 to come out fairly soon. But yeah, JD's right. It's not going to be an overnight thing once Starfield comes out. It's going to take a while for them to transition. And it sounds like I think they're learning a lot from the previous games that they've released very recently about the mistakes that were made. And they're trying their hardest not to, because they're literally been a meme for video games for a while now because of how Fallout 76 came out. And I mean, even with their last update that JD and I talked about, the NPCs were stealing people's best guns off their corpses, and then you can't get them because they're important NPCs. So, and that was, I think that's when they added NPCs.
Yeah, that was like when they first added them. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't think they want to do all that again. The interview that JD's talking about ends with, unfortunately, old Todd also says it's going to be a while before we actually get to play Starfield. From the sounds of things, they only announce a release date once they know there won't be any delays. I wonder if they learned from any recent heavily delayed big games. Cough, cough, Cyberpunk 2077. So, I feel bad for Cyberpunk. I really do, because the fact that they actually care, despite them doing the crunch culture stuff, they care about the game and they're trying to make it good. Not good on one platform, because I've seen games where they come out one platform is completely immaculate, but then Xbox, it's almost always Xbox that struggles with the release titles. Honestly, if you really want to. So, and it sounds like these developers are learning from these mistakes. EA is too greedy to learn. That's why they will continue to do what they do and how they do it. And that's why I can care less about Battlefield 6. They've hurt me too many times now, and so I've moved on.
You could care less about it, but you sure talk about it a whole heck of a lot, buddy.
Because I'm hurt.
I think you care about it a lot more than you want to admit.
But yeah,
you ain't even talking about Battlefield 6, and here you are talking about it.
I saw Elder Scrolls 6 and went Battlefield 6.
Okay. All right. Shh. It's okay.
But this is about Starfield. Okay. About Starfield.
Bring it back.
I'm excited.
Bring it back.
I am excited about Starfield. I mean, I haven't been as invested in the open world RPGs like JD has with Bethesda, but I do enjoy them. I've enjoyed Elder Scrolls Online when I did play. I didn't really get into the Fallout series. I don't know why. I guess I got bored, or I just sucked and died too much and didn't care anymore. But I did play a lot more of Elder Scrolls and Skyrim. So I'm excited about Starfield. I'm always excited about something new, especially from a veteran company like Bethesda. And now I am cautiously optimistic, because the joke has been everything Microsoft buys dies. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So. I think Bethesda's going to be a little bit harder to kill, though. So
yeah,
I mean, they're just too big.
Hopefully, Microsoft will let Bethesda do the thing and just help fund them, and that's about the extent of their involvement.
Yeah.
So,
all right, that's it for our topics. Pretty much. Did you have something else to say?
No, I mean just for the outro, but I'm gonna let you do.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it. We talked a lot this time. Our last week's episode was only like 20 minutes.
We were neither of us were into it. I don't know
we weren't
why.
into it. Yeah, I don't know. But this one was a better episode. We got some more interesting topics to talk about. Hope you enjoyed listening. And you said you had something for the outro.
Oh yeah. It's kind of Starlink related. It's actually just kind of nerdy, fun, historical information. NASA mined its first asteroid recently. That's pretty cool. It's a big deal.
Fun. I mean, if you can bring in money from mining asteroids, it can really change a lot of things, especially if you can bring in like rare materials and stuff like that. So yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. Will I ever be a space miner? Probably not. I play too much Deep Rock. I've seen how that goes, and have no interest.
Not interested in spider attacks. Thank you.
So, especially the exploding ones that leave massive craters.
Those never end well.
So I just thought it was pretty cool. I like space. I honestly wouldn't mind going to space. It freaks me out to no end, but I always like when it's the Trekkie in me or something, the sci-fi nerd into me. Especially when you see your sci-fi, the things you grew up as a kid watching sci-fi shows and movies start actually becoming reality. And honestly, I don't know if a lot of you guys realize it, especially the ones that don't get into sci-fi that much. Sci-fi actually has inspired a lot of what we're seeing develop these days. 3D printers is like the replicators from Star Trek. They've done things as even replicate some foods to a degree. So it's impressive. It's really cool. Cell phones are considered like the modern day tricorder because of how smartphones are these days. Some smartphones even have scanners. There's doctors looking into them, converting into medical scanners. So it's an interesting world, and I like sci-fi. When I see things become a reality from things I grew up with, it's fun. I like it.
What a nerd.
I know. I'm a nerd. I'm proud of it. I'm going to embrace it.
All right. Use hashtag NTWP if you want to contact us. You want to share links on Twitter. You can tag us. We keep our Twitter handles in every episode description. You can join our Discord, also in the episode description, if you want to see the links, the actual story links to the things we talked about today. And that's pretty much it. We will be back next week with episode 33.
We're
Thanks for
moving up in the
listening.
world, ladies and gentlemen.
Hooray. All right. See you later.
Bye.